phone.
Morning. Uh, our elections got over. The prime ministers got sworn in, and a whole lot of congratulations have come in. And I was just going through them. जैसे मैं I was going through all the tweets which came and the congratulatory messages which came. Suddenly I realized that look, these messages and the prime minister's replies, they give India a strategic direction, where we're going to head, where the government is going to take us. So I thought a bit of an interesting thing, something new. So I'll go over it and we'll just see the tweets and what the words convey to everyone and to us also. Okay. The first tweet was, of course, from, you know, the Prime Minister himself, where he said he's happy to receive a call from President Biden. And he says, I conveyed that the India US Comprehensive Global Partnership is poised to witness many new landmarks in the years to come. New landmarks in the years to come. So that's a very positive reply which he's given. Then, of course, this tweet which has come from UAE, where again he has said, thank you, dear brother Mohammed bin Zayed. Warm words. Look forward to working with you to achieve unprecedented heights in the years to come. So that's the Middle East outlook, right? We see the Western outlook, the Middle East outlook. Very clear that we're going to be long-term partners to the Middle East and the Islamic world thereabout. And then, of course, to EU. What does he say in this? Very interesting. Looking forward to elevate the India-EU ties to greater heights. Best wishes on behalf of the world's largest democracy. This is to Ursula von der Leyen, right? And he's, what the thing which comes out here is democracy. We celebrate, she says, we celebrate the voice of the people in our democracies, the two biggest in the world. So there's a democratic recognition about this whole story, which will stand us in good stead. Okay. Now, of course, with Macron, strategic partnership is underscored by the exceptional trust and confidence, right? Trust and confidence in France. So the trend is very clear. Working with a huge democracy called EU, going strong with USA, trust with France. So the leaning is absolutely straight. This is important. The outreach to South America or Latin America, to Brazil, right? Says, wish you great success for Brazil's G20 presidency, all that. And India-Brazil ties have greatly benefited from your leadership and wisdom over the years. This is a direction in which we have to, pay a lot of attention. For a long time, we didn't have even a military attaché in Brazil. But for the past 5-6 years, we have. And I think this term, Modi 3.0, we're going to see a lot of outreach to Latin America, which is good. I've just taken one from each area so that it is representative. Otherwise, the number of tweets which have come and his replies are humongous. Okay. And then, of course, this is interesting to Marcos, President of Philippines. What does Philippines say? Warmest congratulations, right? He says, I look forward to strengthening our bilateral relationship. What does our Prime Minister say? We are committed to build the gains of the past decade in the strategic partnership between India and Philippines. Very clear that for the past 10 years, the India Philippines relationship is on the upswing. They hold immense potential for the welfare of our people and to promote regional peace and stability. So here it comes. The the pointer towards working together to promote peace and stability. Why stability? At this point of time, China is the destabilizing factor out there, and Philippines is at the receiving end. I think this is a very important strategic pointer which he has put out. These are the things which I found very interesting in many. And then, of course, Elon Musk. Everyone said, look, Elon Musk has gone to China, he's not come to India, so he's neglecting India. Here he comes. He says, congratulations to Narendra Modi on your victory in the world's largest democratic elections. Looking forward to my companies doing exciting work in India. So he's going to come back now that he knows there's a stable government, now that he knows India's democracy is pretty stable, right? And he says, fine. And what does the Prime Minister say? He says, appreciate your greetings. Talented Indian youth or demography, predictable policies, and stable democratic polity will continue to provide the business environment for all our partners. This is something which he's almost putting on the plate to Elon Musk and to various other businesses. Almost a similar message to Bill Gates and more, right? Okay, so this is something. This is yet another, uh, pointer as to where we are heading. Okay, then this is a very interesting thing to the Canadian PM. What does Trudeau say? He says congratulations to the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on his electoral victory. Canada stands to work with his government to advance the relationship between our nation's peoples, anchored to human rights, diversity, and the rule of law. So he's made this. He's talking of human rights, diversity, and the rule of law. So the hidden message is we need to follow the rule of law. But our Prime Minister has given it back. What does he say? India looks forward to working with Canada based on mutual understanding and respect for each other's concerns. You take care of my concern, and I'll take care of yours. So mutual concern. And our concern is very clear, right? The Sikhs there. I won't say the Sikhs there, but the freedom which has been given to Khalistanis. So that's been conveyed. And it's very important because uh, Canada, just about 15-20 days back, had said that after China, it considers India as its security threat. So there's a wheeled bar by Trudeau and a return back. So what do you infer? The strategic relationship with Canada is not going to be that great, right? Okay. Next, this is from Shahbaz Sharif. It's a cut and dry one-liner from Pakistan. Felicitations to Narendra Modi on taking oath as the Prime Minister of India. And equally, similar return, cut and dry. Thank you for your good wishes. But it doesn't end there with Pakistan. Okay. Nawaz Sharif, he says, warm felicitations to Modi ji. After all, they have a personal equation, after all, everything. On assuming office for the third time, your party's success in recent elections reflects the confidence of people in your leadership. Then he says, let us replace hate with hope and seize the opportunity to shape the destiny of two nations. So he's reached out. Okay? Okay. Appreciate your message. The people of India have always stood for peace, security, and progressive ideas. Advancing the well being and security of our people shall be our priority. So he's put security. He says, look, you guarantee a security, The rest, everything is okay. So the strategic direction with Pakistan is also very clear. Okay. Now look at the messaging from Maldives. Mohammad Musu and Nasheed, who's the opposition leader, both have sent their greetings on Twitter, and our prime minister has replied. He says Maldives is our valued partner and neighbor in the Indian Ocean region. I too look forward to closer cooperation for further strengthening our bilateral ties. He's kept it very clear that you are our neighbor, we want better bilateral relations. And of course, he came, attended the swearing in. So let us see where this goes. This is going to be a tricky kind of a relationship as we go along, because Moizu is playing both sides. He's gone to China and he's given some concessions to China. He's come here, he's seeking something. We have been, large-hearted with him. When do we turn a bit of the screw is a question at hand, and we'll see what happens there. Okay, okay. This is the interesting one, a very interesting exchange. It's not interesting for anything else, but it's interesting for the larger messages. This is from William Lai Ching-te, who's the president of Taiwan. He says, sincere congratulations. We look forward to enhancing fast-growing Taiwan-India partnership, expanding our collaboration on trade, technology, and other sectors to contribute to peace and prosperity in the Indo-Pacific. So it's very clear, other sectors contribute to peace and prosperity. So what has our Prime Minister said? Thank you, Chintelai, for your warm message. I look forward to closer ties as we work towards mutually beneficial economic and technological partnership. Now, this is virtually almost, when you respond as a head of state to Taiwan the way he has done, it's almost saying, thank you, One China. We don't respect One China anymore. We'll deal with Taiwan as an independent country. It's just short of recognizing that country as it should be. Okay? And that put the ant up Xi Jinping's pants. So immediately the thing came, Beijing objects after India's Modi thanks Taiwanese leader Lai for election message. They feel that it's put doubts in their mind. Obviously, this thing has rattled China quite a bit, right? And I also feel that in case, it's in the news that we're going to rename a few places in Tibet. And if we do that, China is going to be mighty rattled. Okay? And we're going to talk as we go along as to how we're going to, maybe next week or so, I'll make a video on how we are going to rattle China, or how we should rattle China after having achieved whatever we have done. But that's later. Okay? So, Xi Jinping so far has not officially congratulated or personally congratulated the Prime Minister. In fact, he's been silent. So, what does it say? He says there may be positive signals, but Xi's snub of Modi suggests China-India ties are worry. And this is from South China Morning Post. What are the positive signals? The positive signals are what a prime minister said 2 months back, that at some point of time, India and China have to settle their issues. It was seen by many as an outreach to China. Look, let's start talking. But the way things have gone, the way they have objected to the exchange between the Taiwanese president and us as repudiation of the One China policy and all that, it's very clear that they feel that Xi Jinping has snubbed our prime minister. In fact, this article further goes on to state that look, the Chinese Indian relations remain worrying. And it also says China sent an envoy to India after an 18-month long absence. Okay. In this period of 18 months, a lot of miscommunication has happened. Okay. They also mention about Prime Minister Narendra Modi's consolatory message in April about easing border tension, which I mentioned. And then they say Xi Jinping uh, is yet to send a message to Modi, unlike other world leaders, including Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif. So they are acknowledging in this tacitly or implicitly that even Pakistan has sent a message and we have not. And the two most critical relationships for China, or rather for India, are China and Pakistan. Okay, what also they say, while Xi has not sent a message to Modi this time around, he has in the past week congratulated presidents elect in Mexico and Iceland on their victory. In fact, he's congratulated almost every African leader who got elected or come into power, one way or the other. Every day I see, Xi Jinping congratulating someone. It comes out in China daily regularly. Okay, it's like a mouthpiece, but not here. Okay. Uh, okay. Then he says silence from Z after Modi's win is another snub from Beijing because of New Delhi's slow but steady tilt towards Washington. In this, he's talking only of the tilt towards Washington. But if you link up the Taiwan issue and what we are doing to Philippines, things are not going to be easy with China. They also have gone to the extent of saying Xi Jinping also skipped the Group of 20 summit held in India last year. And lastly, of course, he says Modi's message to Taiwan new leader William Lake Chingtai uh, has been denounced by Beijing since he is considered a separatist and a troublemaker. So it's very clear we're going to have problems with China as we go along. And we should have no doubts about it. We should have our game plan clear as to how we have to handle China. Okay, now there is also outreach to India. This is from PLA Delhi, China Mill. What does he say? He says India will not be a willing pawn of US. This also came just around the election time, or the results time. And in this article, they say, look, India and China must work together, and India should not go towards USA, and USA is mistaken if they think India is its pawn. So there's a hot and cold approach. Xi Jinping has not spoken. They feel they're positioning it as a snub, but there's an outreach from their PLA, there's an outreach from Global Times, right? They say India to interact more with China as Modi wins. So they're expecting interaction. They're cautioning us through PLA daily that we will not be a pawn and don't be a pawn. That's their way of saying don't be USA's pawn. And there's no congratulatory message or outreach. Okay. Is the door half open or half shut? We'll see. Okay. Then there's these. This is from Hu Zijin. Hu Zijin is the ex-editor of Global Times. Okay. He's taken, the BBC article and he's put it out on Twitter. He says Modi's popularity in India has declined. It will lead to some kind of reassessment of Modi's reliability in the US and the West. Right? Modi's 3.0 offers limited opportunities for the West. Okay. India's Prime Minister appears to view India's relations with the West as transactional. So he is downplaying our outreach and he's putting it out that to all of us that India's utility to the West is diminished, which means come towards us. Okay. And of course, this tweet is very interesting. It came out a little earlier. It's in the context of China, right? In the context of China, completely to say that in China is one of the growing economies, so everyone should come to it. But what is failed to mention is about India. But he can't miss it out because India is today the fastest growing economy. So, which are the two fastest growing economies as per him? It is India and China, and the rest have to follow. Okay, so they are very clear, and their economy is not doing very well even now. Much about solars and much about EVs and all that, they're in problems. And solar and EV sales will not offset their problems in property. Yeah, let me be very clear. So their economy will deflate. It's a different thing that GDP will go up because they'll pump prime it. They will need India. India, its markets and its growing economy, they'll need. They'll need our political heft. They'll need our diplomatic, you know, thing. So then it's going to come back. So we're going to have something hot from China and something cold from China. Let's be clear about the fact that we're going to have a hot and cold relationship. Okay. So what is it in the sum of what I made out? What is India's strategic direction? After all these which I saw, one thing is for sure, any report you take, India will continue on its growth path. You might find new guys like Elon Musk and company coming into India and setting up their thing here the next 2, 3, 4 years. In fact, no, the world doesn't have any other choice but to come to India, especially after this elections. If you go through the subtext of all the tweets which have come, there's a lot of mention about democracy, stability, stable polity, leadership, everything. So people are making an outreach to India. Maldives, like I said, will be a tricky proposition. We have to handle it with care, right? Again, we have to blow hot, blow cold on that. Canada will be frosty. We have to be very clear about it and what policies we come out. Especially a lot of children of ours go there. A lot of our people go there for seeking jobs. A lot of people go there for migration and are settled there. And how will that community prosper is something of a concern to us. And then, of course, the Khalistan issue. How do we make it very clear to them and make them understand that what they're doing is not in our interest, it's not in their interest either. Okay. Pakistan will remain a nuisance. There's no doubt about it. We've already seen a couple of terror incidents, three of them in a row, the Riyasi, Doda, and Katwa incidents, about which I'll discuss. I'm discussing tomorrow evening with General Hasnain. We'll do a detailed analysis of that. Right? We'll also discuss the outcome of the elections in JNK and where is JNK going as a whole and what our policy should be. Okay, right. China will be the main challenge, and we have to girdle up to it. There's no two ways. Uh, I think we need to have a slightly more offensive attitude towards China, and China understands that. And why we need to do is something we'll on 16th. I'm going to discuss with General Narayanan. Important topic: can PLA win its wars? If PLA can't win its wars, right, we need to, we have scope to be more assertive, to be more, offensive or aggressive, whichever way you call it. But it's time we face up to China and put it in its place, right? And life is not only business. Life is something beyond trade, GDP, and all that. Okay. We're going to have opportunity in the global south, Africa, and Latin America, from what I could make out. There's a lot of trust I could make out in the heads of states' messages to our prime minister, and there's a reciprocal, feeling going out from here. A lot of people are talking about what we've done in Africa, and they look forward to greater cooperation. The interesting thing is we're going to see more forays into the Western Pacific. If I take what the exchange between the Philippines president and our prime minister has happened, we will be more visible in Western Pacific. So as much as China wants to enter the Indian Ocean, we might also be seen there more often. So it balances out things. Our focus has to be on the neighborhood. There's nothing much which is exchanged in these pleasantries with the neighborhood, but the fact that we called all our neighborhood for the swearing in and gave them a place of honor indicates that we place a lot of importance on them. We need to follow it up with better ties. And another thing which comes out, the strategic direction in which India will go is we will lean towards Western USA. We will lean towards Western USA for many things. Like I said, democracy is one, values, and the rule based order is better in the West than the Sinocentric global order which China is trying to get in. Okay. And we need technology which is there in the West. And a lot of our diaspora is in the West. So, taking all these things into consideration and the kind of exchanges which I've read, our Western tilt will be there. Right? This is a bit of a Hutke kind of analysis which I've done. I hope I brought certain things in mind and into view uh, and your consciousness. Because as things evolve and as things unroll, we will see as to how uh, events develop, how our relationship with various countries develop. But this, I thought, was a backgrounder for things to come. Thank you, morning, and Jai Hind.